All right. Hey, are we live? Let's find out. Checking in on my channel here. Hey guys, good morning. Let's see. Looks like we're up and running. And how is our volume doing? Check. Running. And how is our volume doing? Check. Running. Yeah. Okay, that sounds okay. Let's drop that down there, and let's make sure this microphone's in place where I want it to be. Let's spin this back so we can see our screen. I don't know what's going on with you, buddy. Here we go. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna be doing some color mana design work for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition today. I am a big enthusiast of both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, so I created a color mana system to replace the 8 schools of Magic and the Vancian spell slot system. Instead, we have a mana pool and the 5 color mana system. So let me go ahead and get my stuff up and running here, and then we'll start diving into stuff. So I'm just doing some social media posting here real quick, just to let folks know that I'm up and at 'em, okie doke, and we'll dive in. It's 9 a.m. here in Seattle. I'll be going till noon today, and we're working on the Druid subclasses. Using the color mana system from the updated information that's in the 2024 Player's Handbook that we have now. This is a very disorganized introduction today, so I must be off my game. We'll see where the future leads us. So let's see. Let me fix my screen here real quick. If you came in because of the artwork, this is one of the illustrations that I do. Just a quick background about me. My name is Theurgy. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been a DM since 1987 with Redbox and First Edition. Hey, Rel. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since like 1995. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2017. So the first book that I published on my own is the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule System here that takes the 8 schools of Magic and converts it into the 5 color Magic paradigm that Magic the Gathering is famous for. And instead of having spell slots, we have a mana pool system that you spend points to cast spells and create other effects. So let's see where we're at. Okay, so I'm on the Twitter platform. The X Twitter platform. I'm at Phil Kearney. I just posted that our playtesting, we have open enrollment for playtesting from November through May from level 3 to 10. If you're interested, you can just jump into the Discord community here and kick around with us. Cheers. Here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we are live in the future. Hey, new subscribers, thanks a lot, guys. And hey, Samurai. Yep, more mana color stuff today. It's what we do. So I stream 10 days a week, Monday through Friday in the mornings before I go to my day job. We do artwork for the Eberron adventure that is going to be publishing on the DMsGuild, and then on Mondays and Thursday nights and Tuesday and Friday lunches, as well as on Saturday, this brunch stream, we do game design, normally for 5th edition, but not specifically or always. But right now I'm focused on the color mana system. If you are here if you click on the color mana preview here, it'll take you to DMsGuild. Here's a bundle of 6 books that we've created so far that we reference often when we're talking about the design system. They're all free preview. So these books came out. This first one came out in 2017. The Universal Spell Points, the Knights and Tricksters for Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters, as well as the Core Mechanics came out in 2017. 2018, I think we came out with Spell Point Warlocks. And in 2021, we have the revised color mana spell list. Just for a quick crash course for those that don't know, the color mana system uses just a universal spell point system where you spend 1 point per level of spell that you're casting. If you want to look at, let's go to here for now. And you can pop open the full preview here, and you can see it's a 75-page document. The entire thing is a free preview. So the base chassis of how it works is that you have, by the time you get to 20th level, full casters have 80 mana, half casters have 40 mana, and third or off casters like monks, warlocks, eldritch knights, and arcane tricksters have 20 mana. It just depends on, like warlocks and monks have a short rest, while eldritch knights and arcane tricksters have a long rest for 20 mana. And each spell level is, let's go back and let's look at the Spell Point Warlock book real quick just for visual references, because we're rebuilding all of these books for 2024. Not that there's new rules out. 2014 is out of date. But anyway, if you don't know, anyone that when you buy something on the DMsGuild, if you can click to go get it, you can get older versions of the book. So even though we're updating this for 2024, anyone that picks it up will be able to still access the old 2014 rules if you aren't making the switch over. But I honestly like 2024 better. So I'm happy to make the changes. But you can see here the spell point progression. Level 1 spell costs 1 point. 5th level spells, 5 points. 10th level spells, 10 points. Yeah, we have a 10th level that comes in at 19th level. It's a way to upcast, and it also gives you a place to put Wish. If you want Wish to actually be special in your game, don't let it be available until 19th level, and only allow them to duplicate other spell effects below it through 19 at 20th level. That's when you get access to Epic Wish, when you can start altering the world around you and having lasting effects on the campaign, which we detail in all these different books where we can look at different mana selections. So you can, again, these are free previews, so you can check this stuff out. But that's the base core of it. When you're using a color magic system, you take, and let's just use our revised spell list here so you can see. We've talked about this before. There's 5 colors: white, blue, black, red, and green. That's famous from Magic the Gathering. The way that we determine whether a spell or magical effect in D&D is one or another or multiple colors is by looking at some of, and this is not an exhaustive list, but is good examples of the type of stuff that you can expect to see that are related to each color, like divinity, healing, light, protection, restraint. That's kind of like white labels or like tags that you could expect to see with white magic. Black, control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Red, aggression, earth, emotion, energy, impulse. Green, animals, healing, plants, nature, spirits. These are just general themes, tags, mechanics that exist inside of the D&D game engine. And then you have the damage types that also correlate with white, blue, black, red, green. There's 10 damage types, and you can see like acid is typically and this is being pulled from, you know, hundreds and thousands of cards from Magic the Gathering that we like. I looked at every card in Magic the Gathering that has like lightning in the title, and literally all of them except for one was red. One of them was blue. I think it was like I don't remember the name of it, but virtually everything that did damage that was lightning based was a red card, so that's a red energy. Fire, obviously red. But there's like a lot of force type effects that you see in different cards that could be like white, blue, or red. But then like psychic damage, white, blue, and black. Acid, black and green. Poison, black and green. Thunder, blue, red, green. So you can see that there's a balance here. So if you take the aspects of magic and the damage types that a spell could do, and you come up with a matrix that has white, blue, black, red, green, and that kind of tells you, like 0, they don't have any mana you have to spend, but it has an identity. So if I'm going to cast Blade Ward, I might have like a white radiance that surrounds me. When a weapon hits, that white magic like bursts, and I get resistance to that damage, for instance. But it didn't cost me any mana. But like, let's go to something iconic like Fireball, and then we'll get to work. Fireball is a red spell. You deal fire damage. It's a 3rd level spell. Red spell, 3 mana. 1 point has to be red, and the other 2 points can be anything that you want. So if you want to do all 3 red mana, great. If you want to do 1 red, 1 black, 1 green, that's fine too. If you have, if you want to simplify your mana pool, if like say you want daylight for some reason to be a red spell instead of white or green, like maybe you're playing a Gruul character that only has access to red and green magic. Well, daylight would be available to you from green, but let's say if you wanted to, let's say you were, what would be like, Izzet is blue and red magic specifically, like that's their identity. So if you wanted to play hard magic where I'm only going to use red and blue magic because I'm an Azet character, but I want daylight, I can either go research it so it's a red or blue spell, but on the fly, I could prepare it once as daylight as is, and then I could prepare it again so it's the color I actually want it to be. So on the short end, you can prepare spells so that you can have access to them in the color that you want, but for the long term, you can spend downtime and gold to actually research the spell so it's the color that you want, so it for your character will permanently be the color that you want. So over time, you can sculpt your spell selection and your mana pool to better reflect the kind of character that you want to portray in the game. So you can tell like a really powerful Azet character would be using many spells that are splashed across various colors, but he's casting them all as blue magic. Like his deck is focused, so all of his mana is blue, and he can use all the spells all the time like a generic spellcaster would in a universal spell point system. But now in a narrative system, it's like, wow, this is a really powerful or well-resourced character that has had the time or the resources to be able to sculpt their mana pool to do what they want with it on the fly. So that's just some of the ideas that go behind that. So we're going to be working on Druids today, and for anyone that is interested in tagging along, the Martial Power playtest document is here. It'll pop open. You can click through to, this is my Patreon channel, so you don't have to be a member, but if you click the Martial Powers button, that'll take you to this document, which is the document that we are working on here. So it's the same thing. For you, it'll be read-only. For me, I'll be editing today. So let's go down to here. This is... Yeah, here we are. We were working on Circle of the Land yesterday, and we redefined the Circle of the Land Druid as the 5 lands that are famous to Magic the Gathering. Plains, islands, swamps, mountains, and forests. And I have a question mark because maybe there's better things we could do with these colors, but this sort of changes the identity away from where it's defined. Let's see, free rules, let's go here, classes. I'll catch up with you guys in text here in a second. I'm almost done with my rant. So here we go, Bard, Druid, there. All right, let me catch up. What about Divine Intervention? Divine Intervention when it comes to its use, because it's a lot like Wish. Well, you don't get the advanced form of Divine Intervention until 20th level as a cleric. That's your capstone feature, which is an epic wish. So you get access to it. It works the same. So, but we aren't working. We'll be looking at clerics. Once we finish Druids, then we're working our way backwards in the list. So after Druids, we'll work on clerics. After clerics, we'll work on bards. And then that'll fill out the set. So stay tuned. We'll get to clerics eventually. Let's see. Let's go back to Circle of the Land. So yeah, the way that Circle of the Land works in the player's handbook, since there is no color identity in the core player's handbook, the lands that they offer is arid, polar, temperate, and tropical lands. And then you get a selection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get a selection of 6 spells based on the land type that you are devoted to for the day. And whenever you finish a long rest, you can change what your devotion is. If you have an open system like Kalishtar, Dominaria, Kaldheim, where there isn't necessarily a hard identity, like some of the Magic the Gathering settings have like open identities where you can just be a character and you can have any or all colors available to you. Like you can have all 5 colors in your mana pool and you can just cast spells as is. Then your balancing act as a caster is, which of these spells do I think I'm going to need to use, and let's make sure I have enough color in each of them. Like if I only have 3 mana and I'm a 5th level character, I have enough mana to throw 3 or more fireballs per day. But if I only have 3 mana, then I can only, when I burn out those 3 mana, I don't have access to red spells anymore. So whenever you finish a short or a long rest, however much mana you have left in your mana pool, you can, at the end of the rest, you can reassign or devote your mana to whatever colors that you want. And you can do this, you can play mana in a few different ways. You can continue using spell slots if you want, and just take the information that we provide for you here so that you have a rough idea of what the identity of each spell is going to be. And you can use this or use this as written or as a springboard for you to decide that you want to do something like maybe you want Firebolt to also be available for white for some reason. I mean, when you buy these things, you get the spreadsheet that we use. We actually provide you this Excel document spreadsheet that you can go in and just manually change it if you want to. So, when you buy the thing, you have full editable access control over these lists. Don't save. But so if you just go with like spell slots as normal and you just want to use this as identity, then that's all you need this for. You have a general narrative theme that you can use instead of the 8 schools to make your campaigns feel more like MTG. You could go with the spell point system so that you're spending mana to cast spells, but you aren't, it's a soft magic system so that you can just say, I'm going to spend 3 points of mana and this is a red spell, so when I cast it, it has red visuals. And then you have the hard magic system, which is each point is devoted to a specific color, and if you don't have that color in your pool, you can't cast that spell unless you've found some way to change that spell's color to match the color they have in your mana pool. So you either change the spells so they match your pool, or you change your pool so it matches your spells. And depending on what kind of a campaign setting is, determines if you can do that or not. So Ravnica and Strixhaven have hard-coded colors to the identity of your character. Like a Boros character is white, red in Ravnica, or in Strixhaven, white, red is Lorehold. So if you're a Lorehold character, you're limiting yourself to white and red mana. If you're using a soft magic system, white and red is the primary colors for Lorehold, but you could use any color spell that you want. You're just narrating them as white and red. Like, even if you're pulling a blue spell, like Dancing Lights as a Lorehold character, you could say that Dancing Lights could be white because it is creating a light effect. And that's a viable argument. But if, as it's written, and this is why we want to go through the system and update everything, because as we continue to use the system, we can see more and more expanded ways to be able to allow narratives to work with the system. So it's a living document. But if you wanted to, like, say, make Dancing Lights a red effect instead, then you could, the Lorehold character could just simply say, I'm casting Dancing Lights because it's on my list. And as a Lorehold character, I have white and red mana available to me. Like, those are my native colors. So I will just depict this spell as a red effect, or as a white effect, or a blended white and red effect if I wanted to, even if it's a blue spell. You don't have to worry about that in the soft magic variant of the mechanics. So I think I've explained that enough to run it into the ground. So when we're looking at the Druid here, we're looking at, these are all spells that are devoted to we should probably put here white. Actually, yeah, that's not a bad way to do this. Plains. I think this is probably the best way to do this. And then Islands. Swamps. So a Druid, whenever they finish a long rest, they can decide which of these do they want. If we're using a hard magic system, like if you're a Golgari or a Witherbloom Druid, you would naturally limit yourself. Both Witherbloom and Golgari are black and green. So you, as a player, you would actively choose in a hard magic system to only make use of swamps and forests, which is black and green. Those are the only 2 colors that Golgari and Witherbloom have access to. So as a player, you are making a narrative choice for yourself that you're going to limit yourself to those 2 options. In a soft magic system, and this is complete. I mean, at session 0, the table can decide, are we using hard or soft magic in this system? The DM could decide that they want to make it hard magic, and as long as everyone on the team is down with that, that actually nerfs spellcasters, because now the spellcasters have to worry about how much mana of a color do I have? what spells do I have access to in that color? Do I have to learn some of them more than once so I can get spells that aren't native to my colors to get access to them? It's actually a really fun way to take 5th edition and bring it back to 1st edition. 1st edition used to be, you got 3 spell slots. Which 3 spells do you specifically want to prepare today in those slots? Well, Fireball, Haste, and Blink. Well, if you don't get in a fight, none of those spells are useful. Unless you need, like, maybe teleport through a wall, maybe Blink will let you do that, right? If it's a soft magic system, then you've just got your pile of, then that, like 3rd edition, even in 3rd edition, you had all the casters had to decide spell slot, which spell is being memorized in each slot. Only the sorcerer in 3rd edition just had a pool of spells and a pool of spell slots. Whatever spell you know, cast as often as you want. That's what made the sorcerer so powerful in 3rd edition. And by the time we got to 5th edition, they completely wiped away that metagame and made all spell casting, whatever mana pool you have, any spell you have, you can cast in it. So they've slowly been eroding away the roadblocks of power. The reason why spellcasters used to be so cool is because you had to be very smart about knowing what trouble you think your character is going to get into and prepare your spells to potentially deal with those problems. There was a lot more scouting, reconnaissance, research, and strategizing that went into older school games because of the limitations that your casters had. As Wizards took over and slowly eroded that difficulty, it just made spellcasters more and more powerful. Old school gamers like myself, like I said, I've been DMing since 1987, so I've gone through this evolution and I've seen that erosion. So this system is a really fun narrative way to take 5th edition and add in those power restrictions. That is like, it's a tax your player has to pay for having so much power available to them, but it's an opt-in system. So in session 0, if you decide at session 0, you can just decide we're going to go soft magic. It's up to each player to decide how hard-nosed they're going to be about their own mana supply and how hard-nosed they want to be about it. If you want to create those restrictions for yourself, it's because that's how you're choosing to narrate it. Or everyone at the table could decide, yeah, we're going to hard-nose this. If you run out of red mana, no more fireballs for you, for instance. So you have that flexibility to sculpt the table to play the way that you want to. And you can always just change it if you want along the way. It doesn't affect, the mana system is balanced around the idea that your mana is going to be soft. So like throughout the document, like for example, just to prove a point here, like when we go down to the wizard, for example, we have the white magic. The tradition of white magic borrows a lot from the abjurist. So like you get the arcane ward, and so here's how it reads. When you expend white mana to cast a spell, you can simultaneously use a strand of the white magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier, which is PHB. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the hit for you. And when you run out of hit points, it's empty, but you can always add on to it. So whenever you cast a spell with white mana, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the white mana expended. So if I cast a fireball, 1 mana has to go to red, and if I put the other 2 points into white, that triggers my arcane ward. Because I spent 2 points of white mana on that, then I'm going to get twice the white mana spent. So I spend 2 points of mana, I'm going to get 4 points back onto my arcane ward. So that's how it works. But if I'm using a soft magic where we're not being hard-nosed about what color is that mana, it's just assumed that if you're when you are using white mana to cast a spell, you can just say this is if you're casting a spell that is white, you can assume that all 3 points of mana in the spell when you cast it is white, without having to have the mana in your pool specifically be white. So like if fireball, if I'm casting a fireball spell and I'm using a soft magic system, that fireball is not a white spell, so that fireball would not count towards my arcane ward. So even in the soft magic system, you still pay attention to what color are the spells that you're using as your identity, because that can trigger a lot of these different effects. So, kiss. Oh my god. Hey, thanks. Let me catch up. Samurai, what's up? Realm, yep. And then Divine Intervention. We'll get into that. 4 lands now. That's a bit little. Yeah. Well, it was 4. I think it was 4 lands in 2014 as well. So, and how should the points be divided? Yeah, you divide. It's up to you to divide up the color however you want, and you can change the color. Again, whenever you take a short or a long rest, you decide how much of each color that you want. If you were in a dungeon and you're doing a lot of combat stuff, then set up all your colors to work with flashbang kill you stuff. And then you leave the dungeon, you go to town. Maybe you have different spells and different like maybe in the dungeon you have a lot of white and red magic for defense and combat stuff, for instance. But when you leave and go to town, maybe you want to refocus your magic into blue and green so that you have like illusion or divination magic or reconnaissance stuff, and using critters to help you find things. You change your focus. So you leave the dungeon, you take a short rest, you redevote your mana to the colors that you need, and then you sally forth from there. So that's how that works. Yeah. And hey, Nina, welcome to the mix. Glad to have you. So let's see. Yeah, so that's how the Arcane Ward works. If you're using soft magic, and we didn't spell this out in the original core mechanics book. So in the DM section of the 2024 version, while we're rebuilding it, we'll be able to address your session 0. How do you want to establish your mana pool? So, but like for example, the feature that I like the most right now, the one that I geeked out about the most is for black magic, which is the Inured Necrosis, which we stole from the Necromancer tradition out of the 2024 book, where you have resistance to necrotic damage and you can't have your hit point maximum reduced. But we also added on being able to ignore degrees of exhaustion. So, and this is a concentration effect. The way that concentration works is you can have as many levels of magic to like if you're 9th level, you have 5th level spells, you can concentrate on a 5th level spell, which takes 5 mana. Or you can concentrate on 2 second level and a 1st level spell, which also totals 5 mana. The game was not built to do that, so that sounds really powerful to be able to stack multiple effects on concentration at the same time, but the price that you pay is that your DC increases. The DC of concentration equals 10 plus however many levels of spell you're maintaining concentration on, which is represented by tapping mana. So when you have 5 mana, like if you say Big B's Fist is a 5th level blue, white, and red spell. So if I am a Boros character and I'm going to cast Big B's Fist, while I'm maintaining concentration on it, takes 5 mana to do that. 1 white and 4 of whatever. That's going to tap 5 mana, and that spell remains active. It doesn't have an end. However long I can maintain concentration, I can keep the spell going, which sounds broken, but the price that you pay is 5th level, 15 DC. So whenever you take damage, it's half the damage, or 15, whichever is higher. And on top of that, anytime you make a saving throw, you weigh the result against the DC of your concentration. So if I have a DC 13 trap that I didn't notice, and I hit this trap spring, and it's a DC 13 dexterity check to dodge being sloshed in gray ooze, for instance. If I make the success of if I roll a 14 on my dex check, I don't get splashed with gray ooze, but I didn't get DC 15, so I immediately lose my Big B's Fist. So that's the balancing act. The higher level your character is, the more powerful of a spell they can maintain, but the more fragile their concentration becomes. Higher level characters have better concentration checks, sure, but if you're rocking a DC 19 because you're maintaining concentration on some 9th level spell, and say charisma is your dump stat, and somebody dings you with a banishment spell and you fail it, all 9 points of mana gets dumped, you lose the spell, and you just got banished. By the time you come back, you can then spend action economy and additional mana to cast the spell again. So the mana pool notoriously gives you a ton of spells that you can spam. But being able to spam instant effects isn't any worse than just being able to weigh into somebody with a bunch of sword swipes. So that's not really the big problem. It's the concentration buffing effects that really makes the spellcasters that much more powerful than martial casters when it comes down to, say, fighting monsters or defeating a dungeon. And then you have the attrition. So like if it's like say that trap in a dungeon, if it goes like 3 minutes between from one room to the next, and you have a trap or a hazard along the way that's going to trigger somebody's saving throw to avoid the hazard or the trap, that's attrition, where you're just shit testing your spellcasters during the adventure to see are they able to maintain their concentration, or are they going to dump that spell and then they have to choose, do they want to fire it up again and risk it, or do they want to maybe not have so much magic ramping their characters? So they then start thinking tactically, what do we need to do? Like, we need to have our caster ramped up right now to take on this boss fight. What can we do to protect them from having to make too many saving throws? Now your front line actually becomes important to keep shit off of your back line. And having a monk on your team becomes super awesome because that deflection ability can protect the caster from taking just incidental hits that are going to constantly shit test their concentration checks. So it's actually really well self-reinforced. And of course you can read all of it for free because you have access to the entire stack of these things, which is linked right here. So be welcome to tag along and check it out. So back to the main point. I've been pontificating for a while. Forgive my ranting. I truly love this stuff. So getting back into the Druid for the next couple hours, so when we were here yesterday, we selected a slew of fun spells that would seem to be pretty cool. We were talking about a Golgari character. You would specifically just limit yourself as black and green to the swamp and forest spell option. Of course, there's also like Underdark is also black, right? And there's like a number of different type of lands and stuff, but this is generally how it works. So half hour of ranting, that's me. That's me. Okay, great. So now we go into Natural Recovery, which is level 6 feature. So when you finish a short rest, you can recover expended mana equal to the maximum level spell you gained as a Druid. For example, a 13th level Druid can recover 7 mana this way. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So even though a Druid at 20th level would have 80 mana, since the maximum spell level that we have in the game is a 10th level spell slot at 19th level, this tracks the same. The way that it's written in the actual book, hold on, let's go to the actual book now that we're actually doing stuff. The actual feature says half your Druid level. If you're level 6, you get up to 3 levels worth of spell slots. We recalibrated it so the maximum level of spell that you gain as a Druid. And a Druid, and again, we can get up to 10th level spell slots. Here's our scaffold. 10th level spell slots at level 19. And so that means that if you're a 19th level Druid, once a day on a short rest, you can regain 10 mana. And when you regain it, again, you immediately assign, if you're using hard magic, you just decide what color mana it is when you gain it. So that means that over the course of a long rest, a Druid actually has 80 mana at 20th level, and then the extra 10, so you actually have 90 mana instead of 80. And and when we looked at this, like when we did the Sorcerer, right? The Sorcerer subclass. Oh, that's right. We have Sorcerer in the other book. Sorcerers actually add their sorcery points and their full mana together, so they actually have 100 mana at 20th level, and they can spend any amount of known spells between either meta magic or spells, both, however you want. So, but yeah, so that's how the natural recovery mechanic works there. And let's see. So let's look at level 10. Nature's Ward. And again, the way that it works here is whenever Druids gain all their subclass features with the below modifications. If a feature isn't described here, it remains unchanged as written in the player's handbook. So if there's nothing in the language of Nature's Ward that needs changing because of the mana system that we use, we just skip it and we move on to the next thing. So you are immune to the poison condition. Great. You have resistance to a damage type associated with your current land choice in the circle spell feature, as shown in Nature's Ward table below. Ooh, oh boy! So we get to modify this. So Nature's Ward, because it's assigning it by land, but we're using color, so we get to go in and choose stuff. So let's bend that and make it different. Nature's Ward. And we're just going to gank the language. go to our there. You are immune to the poison condition, and you have resistance to a damage type associated with your current land choice in the Circle Spells feature, as shown in the Nature's Ward table. Nature's Ward table. You are immune to the poison condition, and you have resistance to a damage type associated. You have resistance to one damage type associated with your current land choice in the Circle Spell feature, as shown in the Nature's Ward table. You can change which type of damage you are resistant to. You have resistance to when you finish a short rest. White, blue, black, red, green. Choose one from the list below. Plains, Islands, Swamp, Montaigne, Forest, let's go back to our handy list of damage by color in the revised color map. Again, for folks that are just showing up, you can click on the MTG list here. Takes you to the stack of books. All of my books on DMsGuild are 100% free preview. You don't buy the books to read them. You buy the books because you want me to make another one. The more books you buy, the more you encourage me to do so. Dark Secret, I'm going to do it anyway. You're just helping me become full-time at this sooner so I can do it more often. So, like we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, here's how the color paradigm works. Some different ideas and tags and aspects that define the general theme of each color. And then we have the list of damage types associated by color. Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage aren't devoted to any specific color. But if we're looking at white magic, hey, look at that. It just so happens there's 10 types of damage, and look at that. Just like in Ravnica and Strixhaven, you can have 4 types of damage correspond with each damage type. Some of them duplicate, some of them don't, but this is generally pulled from a couple thousand different Magic the Gathering cards. There are a couple exceptions here or there, but by far the vast majority of spells that you can see in MTG cards generally line up with these effects. So if we're looking at white, we're looking at cold, force, psychic, radiant, and islands of blue have cold, force, psychic. I know that this kind of repeat, right? Repeat and repeat, and thunder. A little bit different, but not much. Swamp is acid. I am willing to debate anybody on how any color, any damage type, aspect of magic, or spell is devoted to whatever color, but you should join my Discord channel and dispute with me there, where we have time to think about stuff instead of being live. And I welcome the debate, because I will never profess that I am like a hardcore expert on Magic. I've just devoted a lot of time to it and have tried to put something together that is also allows for flexibility. So if you disagree with me, you can just, you know how it works, so you can change it on the fly as you please. So white magic is generally cold, force, psychic, and radiant. Islands is generally cold, force, psychic, and thunder. Swamp is generally acid, necrotic, poison, psychic damage. Mountain of Red is generally fire, force, lightning, and thunder damage. And green is generally acid, cold, poison, and thunder. So, now that we have this assigned, you are immune to the poison condition, and you have resistance to one damage type associated with your current land choice in the Circle of Spells feature, as shown in the Nature's Ward table. I like to add the word below. You can change which type of damage you have resistance to when you finish a short rest. And as we noted above, you can change the circle, or you can change the land type when you finish a long rest. Finish a short, when you are immune and you have resistance to damage type, it's another choice of spells feature. You are immune to the poison, and you have resistance to one damage type associated with your current land choice of Circle of Spells feature, as shown in the features below. You can change which type of damage you have resistance to when you finish a short, a long, or because on long rest you choose the circle, or you choose the land type, and then you would choose which type you have which damage type inside of that land you have resistance to. And then whenever you finish a short rest, you can swap what that resistance is. So there you go. There. $14. What's next? Nature's Sanctuary. As a magic action, you can expend a use of your wild shape and cause spectral trees and vines to appear in a 15-foot cube on the ground within 120 feet of yourself. They last there for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition or die. You and your allies have half cover while in that area, and your allies gain the current resistance of your Nature's Ward while there. As a bonus action, you can move the cube up to 60 feet to ground within 120 feet of yourself. I'm going to change the flavor of it. I don't technically need to change the mechanics, but I want to change the flavor. Yeah. Let's go here. And if we go back up to the Druid, you can assume, you can cast level 5. While during your turn, you can expend 2 mana to regain a use of your wild shape feature. No action required. At 5th level in the new 2024 rules, you can expend a spell slot to regain it. And of course, a 20th level Druid has 23 spell slots, but by the time you get the 4th level spell slots, you're probably really asking yourself, do I really want to do this again? Actually, that's a really, really, really good point. I think I need to go back up here real quick and revise the, I want to look at the wild shape feature again. Hold on. When do I get wild shape? 2nd level, thank you. The power of nature allows you to assume the form of an animal. As a bonus action, you can shapeshift into a beast form that you have learned for this feature. See known forms. You stay in that form for a number of hours equal to half your Druid level, or until you use wild shape again. You have the until you use so you can use wild shape repeatedly. So if you have a mana pool, if it costs 2 mana to use wild shape, which is what we determine with wild resurgence, while you're like for example the Honor Among Thieves, right? The chase scene when the Druid is escaping town and turns into like 7 different wild shape forms during that chase scene. With this system, every time that Druid is changing form,
it's a bonus action to change form for 2 mana. If you want to be able to do that 7 times, you get how many uses? Let's say at 7th level, for example. You'd have 3 free uses of Wild Shape, and if you change 7 times, you'd have to use 4 more uses, which would only be 8 extra mana that you would spend as part of the bonus action to change size. And at 7th level, you have 24 mana. So you can easily spend 8 mana of your 24 to Wild Shape an additional 4 times during a chase scene where you want to change your form each time to be able to hide, fly, move fast, dash, and stuff like a deer. You have those options to be able to hide, like I want to use 2 points, I'm now a horse as a bonus action. And then you can use your action to hide among the horses to try to, it was axe beaks or chocobo, like the chocobo, like the riding ostriches. You could do that, so you can replicate Honor of Thieves' druidic fast changing by dumping more and more and more mana into your wild shaping as you flip forms back and forth. And you have to be at least 5th level to do that, so you can start spending your mana pool on the fly while you do this. But this allows you to do that cool stuff. Start off as a horse, spend a bonus action to switch into an owlbear, attack somebody, switch into a bird to fly away. You're gonna be spending mana instead of wild shape features to do that. So that I just wanted to address that real quick, because this feature allows you to expend a use of your wild shape to create the, where'd it go? Too much scrolling, son. Nature Sanctuary. So as a magic action, which is an standard action, you can expend a use of your wild shape to cause, and I don't want it to be spectral trees and vines because that only makes sense if you're using forest. So and cause ley line energy to appear in a 15-foot cube on the ground within 120 feet of yourself. The energy, the ley lines, let's call it energy. The magical energy lasts there for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition or die. You and your allies have half cover while in that area, and your allies gain the current resistance of your nature's ward while there. Excuse me for a second. I'm still a little sick. Oh, excuse me. That. Got the consumption. That is that's poor online etiquette. My apologies. So basically, for 2 mana, you can pop this thing. As a bonus action, you can move the cube up to 60 feet to ground within 120 feet of yourself. There, and then you can sustain this effect beyond. Yeah, right on, man. Yeah. AKA Magic BS. There's ley lines everywhere. Let's see. As a magic action, you can expend a use of the wild shape and then cause ley line energy to appear in a 15-foot area cube in the ground. The magical energy, as an instantaneous effect, the magical energy lasts there for 1 minute or until you have the incapacitated condition or die. You know what? Never mind. You and your allies have half cover. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Because you can just spend 2 mana and trigger it again. I'm okay with that. Let's see. As a magic action, you can expend the use of wild shape and cause that. You could pop more than one of these. You can have multiple effects if you want. As a bonus. Ooh, here's a good idea. Which type? Let's see. Let's do this. This is level 10. Let's check our master list of martial powers. And again, if for those that are new to the channel, if you want to see the document that we're using, the martial power playtest document linked through Patreon is here. You can click this. You don't have to be a member of my Patreon. You click the martial powers button, and it opens up the document that we're using for you. It's going to be a read only. And for those that are interested, oh shit. Let's reopen that. Reopen, close, reopen, close, tab. There I am. Okay, and for those that are interested, November playtest sign up on Discord. You can join my Discord channel and drop down to the playtest if you want to participate in the mega dungeon crawl that we're going to be doing from levels 3 to 10. Hopefully starting next week. You're welcome to join and raise your hand and say that you want to play. So, and this is, again, the full martial powers document. The actual martial powers project gives all the martial characters half casting progression and can channel powers like from Book of the Nine Sword or martial powers in 4th edition. Book of the Nine Sword was 3rd edition. Martial powers was 4th edition. We're bringing both of those back up here into the martial powers. We have roughly 180 powers. 115 of them use mana, and like 63 of them are like cantrip effects. But if we drop down to the sustained powers, I'm looking at costs. So the costs to create resistance to a damage type, adaptive resistance. Elemental, when you sustain this power with 1 mana, choose 1 damage type: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You have resistance to that damage type and gain an advantage on saving throws, the reduced damage taken of that chosen damage type. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different damage type with each channeling. Energy, we have Psychics, Poison, Radiant, Necrotic, and Force damage for 2 mana. And then also for 2 mana, when you sustain this power for 2 mana, you gain resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So if you are a 5th, like if you had access, like a 17th level Paladin, for instance, has 5th ranked powers or 5th level spells, I could have resistance to BPS. I could also have, say, resistance to Radiant, and I could have resistance to lightning damage for 1, 3, a total of 5 mana. I can have all 5 mana tapped at the same time to have all those 3 different resistances active at once. Since the majority of this is 2 mana, instead of like, they have the simple elemental, but then you have the more advanced forms. So, and since 2 points is equal to also the cost of renewing wild shape, it makes sense that we would then be able to, you can change which type of damage you have resistance to when you finish a long or short rest, or by expending 2 mana. No action required. So during the adventure, you can spend 2 mana just to change the damage type that you have resistance to. So it's another mana tax, but you have so much mana pool that you can cast spells over and over again. Having cool ways to spend mana on something other than just spell casting allows your character, like the Paladin and the Cleric, you can spend 2 mana to gain another use of your divine channel feature. So if you just wanted your Cleric to like get a +10 on attacks all the time in melee, you can just spam 2 mana every time you hit to burn another channel divinity effect to give yourself a +10. That gives people like a really great reason to take like the War Cleric. If you're on the fence about it, how much of my mana per day do I want to dump into getting that +10 divine that divine guidance attack bonus, for instance? That's like a really fun use of mana. Anyway, so there you go. So that is Nature's Sanctuary. That completes the Circle of the Land. So let's go on to the next one. What is our next circle? We're going to drop down here. 1, 2, 3, bam. And we'll go with whatever the next circle is. This class would be particularly beneficial in a roll. Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, super freaking useful. Both Ranger and the Druid are actually incredibly useful classes. And this is just the core mechanics. Like if let's build a book of Gruul where everything is red-green themed, and then we have like 20 pages of shit that Gruul characters can do. Gruul sorcerer, do this. Or like we could Strix class all 13 classes into Gruul, and then have like variant red-green identity stuff for all the classes, build out subclasses, alternate class features, all sort like feats that spend mana, shitloads of stuff, splat books forever. And I can do that with each campaign, like a book of Kalishtar, book of Ravnica, a book of Innistrad, anything I want. Let's see. The only thing is, like, if I want to do like Kalishtar, it would have to be on my Patreon, because it would have to be free access, because I can't paywall MTG content, and it's not an official setting, so it wouldn't be on the DMsGuild. That would just be, I'm just going to make this shit for fun and, you know, spend money on my Patreon to encourage me to do it more. So we'll see that. We'll see that in the future. Let's go to Circle of the Moon. This could be very fun. Circle of the Moon. I make no assumptions about what these things are going to be. So let's see where it leads us. Get out of here, sorcerer. I don't know. Again, if a feature doesn't need to be changed, we just skip it. But a lot of these, obviously a lot of these features, we have ways to be able to bend things into it or modify it or ramp it with the mana. Oh, hey, Zona. It's good to see you, my guy. Circle of the Moon. What happens? Flavor text. Draw lunar energy. Order gathers under the moon to share news and perform rituals. Sure. Changeable as the moon, a druid in the circle might prowl as a great cat one night, soar over the treetops as an eagle the next day, then crash through the underbrush as a bear to drive off a trespasser monster. The wild is in the druid's blood. Circle forms. You can channel lunar energy, magic, when you assume a wild shape form, granting you the benefits below. Challenge rating, the maximum challenge rating of the form equal your druid level divided by 3, rounded down. Until you leave the form, your AC equals 13 plus your wisdom modifier if that total is higher than the beast's AC. THP, you gain a number of THP equal to 3 times your druid level. Okay, Circle of the Moon spells. When you, I don't have any reason to change circle forms. That's fine as is. Circle of the Moon spells. When you reach a druid level, I see text. I'll catch up with you in a second. When you reach a druid level specified on the druid Circle of Moon spell list, you thereafter always have the listed spell prepared. In addition, you can cast the spells from this feature while you're in a wild shape form. I love that. That is really, really great flavor. Like 2024 is just doing cool little caveat nibble bits like this, that just like little mechanical punches that really just helps curve into stuff. I love that. Cure Wounds, Starry Wisp. What the fuck is Starry Wisps? That's a cantrip. That's new. Okay, cool. We'll have to add that. Fount of Moonlight. That's also new. Mass Cure Wounds, Conjure Animals. Okay, no need to change it. None of this has... I don't have to have a specific color identity with any of these, but they do lean into a certain direction, don't they? White and green. Moonbeam is... I believe that's white and green energy as well. White and green, that's new. Conjure Animals is new, but that would be a green spell. And then Fount of Moonlight, that is also new, but that would logically also be white and green. So this is a very white-green themed character. If you're being hard-nosed about your mana, it would be white-green. There is something to be said that, like in a Ravnica campaign, for instance, if you are playing a Dimir Circle of the Moon, which would make a lot of sense, Dimir does darkness stuff like that, then generally you allow your bonus spells to be devoted to the colors. Like if you have a hard-nosed mana system where your characters have hard color identities, if you wanted to be a Dimir Circle of the Moon, then your mana would be only blue and black, these circle spells would allow to be cast in blue and black mana specifically, because that's the guild that's the guild that your character is devoted to. So it would be a real asshole move that if I wanted to play Dimir and then take this circle of Druid of the Moon, to be forced to deal with white and green magic when neither one of those colors is inside of the Dimir set. I would then have to double tax you to get access to these spells, and that feels bad. So bonus spells that you get from your subclass when you're using a one of these color identity settings, the bonus spells automatically align with whatever your character's color identities are. So you could have a Rakdos Circle of the Moon and put them next to a Dimir Circle of the Moon. They would both have black magic. The Rakdos would also have red, while the Dimir would have blue. And then thematically, when you're wild shaping into creatures, you'd probably want to think along the lines of like, what kind of creature, or how would I describe this creature to be more like the guild that I'm a part of? Like maybe the Rakdos character would become a wolf, but it looks like a hellhound. So you have like licks of magical red light coming, like red fire wreathing your creature's form, or like it'd be like a fire red fur with like black tufts on its chest, for instance. While the Dimir character, maybe they would take on like the form of a giant spider. That's very Dimir. That's a very, very Dimir flavor. Maybe Dimir wouldn't want to be a gazelle, but a Selesnya white-green character would. So you can flavor these things because the form and description, the form of the form and the function, form and function no longer align. You can take like creature of the land and call it a gazelle, or you can take creature of the land and call it a wolf, and like that Rakdos or maybe Gruul character might take on that wolf form, while the Selesnya character might take on that gazelle, for instance, as an example. But that's going to be in these are the core mechanics of the class. And if you're using soft magic, this doesn't matter at all. So like if you're using soft magic, I am a Dimir Circle of the Moon, and I can cast these spells, but then I just simply describe them as being blue and black magic, because the spell points are just neutral, generic, universal spell points. And I narrate what color they are, but I still have access to mana like you would expect in the player's access to spells like you expect in the player's handbook. When you play hard magic, then you have the problem like we're talking about here. These are all white and green spells. What if I want to play a blue and black character? That's when you have a little, like the DM chapter, how to adapt in session 0 to have these classes work with a hard magic system. That's how you do it. You just automatically reassign these spells. So for your Dimir Druid, Cure Wounds now becomes not a white green spell. For that Dimir character, it now becomes blue black, so they can cast it. But the rest of the Druid spells, they still have to figure out how to get them into blue and black. And in Ravnica, and specifically, just as an aside, because Ravnica is fucking awesome, the renown system that they have in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, you can use your renown. By increasing your renown, you gain access to higher level spells that whenever you spend, like you get free research, you just have to spend time at your guild to research the spell based on your level of renown. Like for example, for each point of renown that you have, you can research a spell for free. So by the time you get to 50 renown, you'll have been able to take 50 spells out of your spell list and make them the color that you want them to be, if they're not already part of that color. In the Theros setting, Piety, if you are like say I'm so weak on like Eros. Eros is white and red mana. If your Piety is devoted to Eros, then as your Piety increases, every time you gain another level of Piety, your god grants you another spell, in this case, that you would be able to devote to either white or red magic. So the more devoted you become to your god in Theros, the more your color pool and your spells start to align with the colors that god is devoted to. So you have the big 5 that only have one color, And then you have the minor gods that are devoted to 2 colors each. You can choose, like, if I'm Eros, I'm just going red. Everything's going to be red. Eventually, all I need is red mana. You would then express your god using red as your energy. Aggression, passion, war, aggression. Or you go with white, protective, nurturing, innovative. Not innovative, that's a blue idea. But you can take those different directions, or you can mix it up and have both of them there at different levels, and you decide how you want to narrate that. So that's how you deal with colors being in the wrong colors for your character, but still get access to them, which we've already spent some time in the core mechanics book discussing. But again, as we've played the campaign, as I've played through many games using the system, we've found how to be able to expand these narratives. And I'm just now really spending time to be able to rebuild the book. 2024 is a blessing to me because it really gave me an excuse to not only update the mechanics, but to be able to dive into these ideas further and to really just lean into a more complete system. So anyone that's supporting it, thanks a lot. Really appreciate you. So we don't have to worry about circle, the Circle of the Moon spells. That's fine. The improved circle form is fine. I want to say Moonlight Step is 6, and then 10. Okay, so this has to be 14. This has to be 10. I guess this means that improved circle form is 6, which means the spells and the circle form are 3. Yeah, that makes sense. So we don't need to do anything with 3rd level because those are all fine as is. 6 is going to be improved circle form. Do we actually need to do anything with improved circle form? While in wild shape form, you gain the following benefits: Lunar Radiance. Once you see how aligned to white and green this is. Lunar Radiance is a white idea, and then Toughness is a very green energy sort of thing. Hit points, just general like beefy, chunky toughness. That's a very green theme. So I just love how much this class is naturally aligns with white-green energy. Lunar Radiance, each of your attacks in a wild shape form can deal its normal damage type or radiant damage. You make the choice each time you hit with those attacks, which is a theme that we have throughout the martial power system with the strike powers that we have. Just a tangent over here real quick. We go into strikes like what's a good one? Thundering Strike. Your weapon can deal thunder damage. Your weapon deals its normal damage, or your weapon can deal thunder damage and add 1 power per mana burned. A creature is pushed directly away from you up to 10 feet for each point of mana burned. There you go. So I like that they're doing that. Like, you can deal your normal damage or you can deal radiant damage. Like, what if it's not useful to deal radiant damage? Like, you're fighting an angel or something and it's immune to it. Well, then that's stupid. You're gonna want to use your claw. Excuse me for a second. Cool. So, Radiance. This is like that Demir character, for instance. They'd still be able, even though Radiance is a white specific damage type, the class overrides the identities. So this is a way that like your Demir character would be able to use Radiant, but you might express it as like a blue or a black or you could describe it using the color that you want to give it that identity. Increased toughness. You can add your wisdom modifier to your constitution saving throws. That's cool. Moonlight Step. So we don't need to do anything with improved circle form. We are at risk of not having any features that need to be modified. So we like skip. Moonlight Step. So that's our 10. Moonlight Step. You magically transport yourself reappearing amid a burst of moonlight. As a bonus action, you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and you have advantage on the next attack you make before the end of this turn. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can also regain uses when you expend a level 2+ spell slot for each use you want to restore. No action required, which would then convert into 2 mana. So, update. So we're just gonna gain. So, great. We get to mention one of the features, Moonlight Step.
And I am going to reference here. This is a general language that we use when all we have to do is modify the language involving spell slots. So in so doing, this feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. Once you use this feature, you can, when you can regain uses by expending 2 points of mana, period. No action required. Excuse me for a second. I'm back. I think it's time for me to take a sip of coffee and some water. Let's catch up. Yeah, they got rid of magic damage. There is no magic damage in DMG in 2024. It's a type of magical damage. Radiant, Force, and Necrotic are typically what you're going to see. I love that. Everything now has a color identity. Or everything now has a damage type identity, which allows us to lean into the resistance ideas. Yeah, I like that a lot. Excuse me. So that's good. Let's look at number 14. Lunar form. The power of the moon suffuses you, granting you the following. Oh, that's right. Yeah. They got rid of the elemental forms. Let's see. Once per turn, you can deal. The power of the moon suffuses you, granting you the following benefits. Improved lunar radiance. Once per turn, you can deal an extra 2d10 radiant damage to a target you hit with a wild shape form's attack. I love that. Shared moonlight. Whenever you use moonlight step, you can also teleport one willing creature. That creature must be within 10 feet of you and teleport it to an unoccupied space you can see within 10 feet of your destination space. Whenever you use moonlight step, you can take someone with you. That's very on theme with the Monk of the Open Hand that can use Step of the Wind, and you can carry somebody with you when you do Step of the Wind. And I think Step of the Wind comes in at 11, and this comes in at 14. That's kind of well aligned. So, yep, that's all we needed for Circle of the Moon. So that dude's done. One second. 1, 2, 3. Circle of the Sea. Oh, I get it. Circle of the Land, Circle of the Sea. Yeah. I get it. No more elemental form. Kind of lame. Not gonna lie. Yeah. But oh well. It is what it is. It would have been cool to say you can choose an elemental form of a CR that matches your maximum wild shape form, like Magmin, for example. You can become a Magmin. But I think we haven't seen the monsters yet, so I don't really have a way to say, is that a good choice or not until we actually see what they did with the elementals. It might not be reasonable that an elemental anymore would be an option for a player to take. We just don't know because we don't know what the monster manual is anymore. I agree, though. I like that idea. If they had made Circle of the Land aligned to like Circle of the Elements, and then it would make sense at 14th level, depending on which element you're aligned with right now. That's the elemental form that you can take. Yeah. For example, hold on.
let's go to the elemental key. This is a half-casting version of the Way of the Four Element Monk that gives you air, earth, fire, and water mana. There's two formats. There's color, in which case elements are red, green, and blue specifically in this particular document. Or you could use the elemental paradigm, which is a 4-facet system. The 8 schools is an 8-facet system. The 5-color magic system is a 5-facet system. But the 4 elements is a 4-facet system where your mana is devoted to air, earth, fire, or water. And then in this document, you can see that here's 50 spells that the monk would be able to learn as a half-caster. And in the color mana system, it's either going to be a blue, red, green spell. And in the elemental key system, it's going to be air, earth, fire, or water. So I will be building a drive-through RPG color mana system that uses air, earth, fire, and water as its core. And then like air and earth, for instance, is dust. Earth and fire is magma. Fire and water is steam. So we can have the 4 main, and then it's I think it's another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 6 different like variant elements in between them. So we could have like Ravnica has 10 guilds between the colors. With this, you could have air, earth, fire, water, steam, mud, dust, lightning. Like those are additional sub schools that you can fill out as well to have a total of 6 different like elemental schools that you can then break up that way. We can then assign all the spells in the game an elemental identity. And then we can do the same thing with the martial power system, assign elemental identities to everything. And then we can use, instead of a color mana system on the DMsGuild, we can export that out to the ttrpg, and as an independent solo project, like Kickstarter or something, we can create the elemental mana system. So we already have the roots of it here. And so you can see like air, like for example, Clinch of the North Wind, hold person. It could be, you could have a green spell, like you could have an earth spell like Claws come up out of the earth and hold you in place. That's your hold person. But since it's presented as Clinch of the North Wind, air, it becomes an air spell. So that's how hold person became air. But it's a 2nd level spell, so it's 2 mana, which means you would need 1 point of air and then the other point of whatever. If all you are is an airbender, then all of your mana is going to be air, and then you have to find a way to make all these things become air by learning them twice or studying them as before. But if you're playing an avatar where you have access to all 4 elements, you can see, yeah, I'm going to have like 6 points in air and like 4 points in fire, and sometimes we'll do lightning, who knows. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's a half-casting class, the feature isn't the spells anymore. Those are just added on, but you have actual features. So one of the things that the monk got is the elemental avatar, which is starting at 17th level. As an action, you can assume an elemental avatar form of your choice from the options below. And these are just the, the vestige, like the vestige of flame, the vestige of frost, the 4 vestige spell forms that are 6th level spells. The elemental, you get to choose one of them. Avatar of fire, avatar of ice. So here's fire and ice using actual outfits from Avatar of the Airbender, by the way. You can look it up. And then we have of earth and air. So I went with an Underdark theme here. But you have the avatar of stone and the avatar of wind. It was like a vestige of earth and a vestige of air, I think is how it went. But these key points here, these bullet points, this is just literally just reformatting the options that you get from those vestige spells of 6th level. It's like that's a very easy way to be able to fake an elemental form that your character can sustain if you want to go in that route. So, but you can check this out on DMsGuild if you want. Again, it's a free preview. It's available, and if you do pick it up, please leave me a preview, because it's already a silver medal status, but it hasn't gotten any previews. So if you think this thing's cool, consider buying it. So, but back to our regularly scheduled program. What's up? Yeah, Avatar is fucking cool, man. I love that. I love that. I reached out to, I forget the name of the company that created the Fate system with it. I asked them if they were interested in doing a 5e version that I could work with them on. They said, yeah, we're not looking at doing 5e. And I was all, okay,
Your choice.
I also reached out to Path of Exile and asked them if they were interested in a 5e mana system that would allow them to duplicate the gem socket system that they have in Path of Exile. They also weren't interested, but just for reference sake, this document that we have, it's completely compatible with anything you can imagine in Path of Exile. I am a big PoE nut. I don't have time to play it, but I fucking love Path of Exile. I used to play it at least 20 hours a week when it first came out, and then I got really serious about making games, so I had to stop playing I had to stop playing games so I'd have time to, like, I was playing D&D and video games and occasionally doing book stuff. I decided to drop video games off of my workload so that I could free up all those hours for me to do more design work and still be able to maintain playtest games. So anyway, back on course. Circle of the Sea. Flavor text. Druids of the Circle of the Sea draw on the tempestuous forces of oceans and storms. Some view themselves as embodiments of nature's wrath, seeking vengeance against those who despoil nature. Others seek mystical unity with nature by attuning themselves to the ebb and flow of the tides, following the rush of currents and waves, and listening to the inscrutable whispers and roars of the wind. So we have Circle of the Sea, which is thematically it's the reverse side coin of circle, like land and sea, right? That's a classic, right? So two sides of the same coin in that phrase, which is why we have Circle of the Sea. Even though the Circle of Land Islands kind of takes on that identity, we are acknowledging the existence of these different subclasses, but obviously we're not opposed to changing them, as we've seen down here. Since there is no 8 schools, you can't have a tradition of abjuration or tradition of necromancy. We had to change them all to the color identities because of the color mana system. So we're going to now explore and consider Circle of the Sea and see if there's any potential reason for us to change that. I think Circle of the Moon stays as is, that's fine. But Circle of the Sea, we will see what we do to it. Right on. When you reach Druid levels specified in the Circle of the Sea spells, you thereafter always have these spells listed. Let's see what kind of stuff that we have. Fog Cloud, Gust of Wind, Ray of Frost, Shatter, Thunder Wave. God damn, you get a lot of spells, my dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 total. That was 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. And then we get Build-A-Bear 6. I don't know why. I have yet to crack the mechanic for why some classes get 6 spells, some get 5, and some get 10, or none. There doesn't seem to be a consistent language behind that. But I am considering expanding the spell lists. So, because like in the martial power system here, all the martial subclasses, they always get 10. Like Path of Power, like here's the 10 powers that a berserker gets on top of the things that they get to do. And then if we like go down to the ranger, like paladins get 10 spells, so we don't have to worry about that. Rangers, I think they get 10 spells. Actually, you know what? I honestly don't fucking know. Hold on. I'm supposed to know, but I don't recall offhand. Let's double check. Let's check my shit real quick. Because Rangers sometimes get spells, sometimes get 5 spells, sometimes get 10 spells. But Paladins? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 10. 10. Paladins always get 10 spells. So they don't get any free powers because they get 10 spells for free. Because paladins and rangers, as half-casters, can use both powers and spells. Take your pick. But the ranger is different because the ranger, let's get back to where we once were. Get back, Loretta. Go home. Let's go down to the ranger. Hunter. Hunter gets no spells. Gloomstalker gets 5 spells. Fey Wanderer gets 5 spells. Beastmaster gets no spells. So the ranger is, I think, universally accepted as getting like the deepest shaft in the whole fucking game. Not only does their spell selection generally limit them, they got crap features, but they also don't get any fucking free spells, right? So we corrected that. So we're making sure that like the ranger, like the Beastmaster didn't get any spells. Well, with the power system, the Beastmaster gets 10 free powers. If we go down to the Fey Wanderer, they got their bonus spells, and we give them 5 extra powers, so they also get 10. Gloomstalker, that got 5 spells. We give them an extra 5 powers to flesh out their 10 slot. And then the Hunter got no spells at all. Fuck you. So let's give them a list of 10 powers. Since all of them use the same resource system, we want to make sure they get the same amount of powers to balance them so that they have the same stretch of resources and customizable options to make them useful to the party as they continue to progress their character advancement. This gives the Ranger a very good leg up. So we want to make sure that's universal. So that probably means we're going to go back through and give these casters probably 10 spells as well. So, but for now, this is the wrong thing. Let's get out of here. All right, back to where we were. So we're looking at Circle of the Moon spells. Okay, fine. Circle of the Sea. Let's get through here. They get their 10 spells, so we don't have to worry about giving them anything. Hey, what's up? Flavor? That's a question, but I don't know what the question means. So, Wrath of the Sea. So this is, let's work our way backwards to find out what we got. 14th level, 10th level, 6th level, 3rd level, 3rd level. Wrath of the Sea, 3rd level. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape. There you go. To manifest a 5-foot emanation that takes the form of ocean spray that surrounds you for 10 minutes. It ends early if you dismiss it. Manifest it again, or have the incapacitated condition. When you manifest the emanation, and as a bonus action on your subsequent turns, you can choose another creature you can see in the emanation. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or take cold damage. And see, cold is themed around water, which is blue. Cheers. And if the creature is large or smaller, be pushed up to 15 feet away from you. Determine this damage. Roll a number of d6s equal to your wisdom fucking modifier. That's fucking great. But do I need to modify it? No, that's fine as is. So let's look at Aquatic Affinity, which is 6. The size of the emanation created by your Wrath of the Sea feat increases by 10 feet. In addition, you gain a swim speed equal to your speed. Okay. That is a very chintzy form. So I guess I can see why they're giving you 10 spells here as opposed to 5, because I think we can all argue that Land and Moon are giving better features than what this is doing. Oof, that's irksome. Wrath of the Sea, you can use. See, this is a good feature. Wrath of the Sea, that's a good feature. But Aquatic Affinity, this is a shit feature. In addition, you gain a swim speed equal to your speed. Excuse me. I am not happy with that. But technically it doesn't need any changes. But I want to change it because I want to give more to it. Starborn, your Wrath of the Sea confers. Your Wrath of the Sea confers 2 more benefits while active, as detailed below.
Your Wrath of the Sea feature confers 2 more benefits. Okay, fly speed, resistance. You have resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder. Jesus. Okay, see, Stormborn, that's good. Permanent resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. That is fucking fantastic. So there's no need for us to change Stormborn. Perfectly happy. Oceanic Gift. Instead of manifesting an emanation of Wrath of the Sea around yourself, you can manifest it around one willing creature within 60 feet of yourself. That creature gains all the benefits. Okay, I want to expand on this. Circle of Stars. I am cool with Stars in the Moon. That's where that came from, right? We're going to change flavor here. Circle of Storms. Circle of the Storm. Let's do that. That feels better. That's going to let us pull in more elements into the array. And they just chose sea because it's clever, land and sea. But we jilted that with the island effect above. So the Circle of Storms, I think that feels good. So we're going, and since we don't really need any of these things, we get to change them. So we're gonna go Wrath of the Storm. Yay! We have a reason now to build out all these features. Now we're gonna gank. And this is gonna feel really fucking intuitive when I do it. You guys are really gonna kind of get the gist of how these things go. Before long, you aren't gonna need me at all to be able to figure these things out. You'll just get it. As a bonus action, when you expend a use of your wild shape, as a bonus action, you can expend a use of your wild shape and again, you can burn wild shapes over and over again. To manifest a 5-foot emanation that takes the form of a storm that surrounds you for 10 minutes. It ends early if you dismiss it. Manifest it again, or have the incapacitated condition. And again, you can just spend 2 mana anytime you want to be able to pop this thing again. And you can pop it multiple times. You can have, well, it's around you, so it'd start over again. Oh yeah, and you can only use one at a time. Right, okay, so because it starts over whenever you use it again. When you manifest this emanation, and as a bonus action on your subsequent turns, you can choose another creature you can see in the emanation. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC, or take cold, lightning, or thunder damage, your choice. And if the creature is large or smaller, be pushed up to 15 feet away from you. To determine this damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1. I am fine with leaving that as is, but we get to continue to expand. So what's next? Aquatic Affinity. I think I'm okay with that. No, I'm not. So let's update that. We can do more and better. We will stick with Aquatic Affinity for now. The size of the emanation created by your Wrath of the Sea increases by 10 feet. In addition, you gain a swim speed equal to your speed, and you can breathe underwater. Equal to your speed, and you can breathe underwater. Let's
see what other kicker there is. Resistance, you have resistance to cold, thunder, and lightning damage. Yep. And then Oceanic Gift. In addition, you can manifest the emanation around both the other creature and yourself if you expend 2 uses of Wild Shape instead of 1 when manifesting it. So we'll lean into that. Oceanic Gift. Aquatic Affinity. Let's go with Storm. I want to change this. Hold on. Hold on. Let's just go cheap and go Storm, Affinity. The size of the emanation created by your Wrath of Sea, by your Wrath of the Storm. Tempest Affinity. The size of the emanation created by the Wrath of by your Wrath of the Storm increases by 10 feet. I'm going to get rid of the swim speed. We're gonna shunt that swim speed to the to Stormborn. So you could have flight, aquatic adaptation, and resistance. Flight. You can have flight. You gain water breathing and a swim speed as well as flight speed if you want it. And then you have the resistances. That's what we're going to do with Stormborn. But what we're going to do here, we're going to make this a good feature. The size of your emanation increases by 10 feet. In addition, you automatically succeed attrition checks triggered by weather conditions. What does that mean? We were talking about shit testing your concentration saves back in the first half hour of rants. If you want to go back to the beginning and listen to me rant for a while about how cool the system is, you are welcome to do so. But let's just jump inside of the Elemental Key book again, because it's in a lot. So one of the reasons why I make all these books free to read is because a lot of times I have to duplicate rules over and over again. So like this is a 14-page book, but like a good 4 pages of it are already existing inside of the Arcane, like the Knights and Tricksters book and the Core Elemental book. It's duplicating text, so like it would feel cheap of me to like paywall you to read stuff that you may have already read in another book. So it just makes sense to me to make these things transparent for you to look at. But let's go down to the attrition mechanics again for you to take a look. Attrition. So while maintaining concentration in difficult or hostile conditions, and I'm going to zoom this up just a smidge. DMs are encouraged, and again, you can read this book with me if you want by clicking here. It takes you to this same list of books, and then we clicked into the Elemental Key book, and now we're here. Blip. DMs are encouraged to frequently challenge concentration to put tap key at risk by at risk of being burned to balance the unlimited duration of sustained effects. For example, a wave crashing over you while you're on a storm-tossed ship may require you to succeed on a strength or other appropriate saving throw to maintain concentration. This is referred to as attrition. Hostile conditions that cause attrition include blinding light or darkness can test your intelligence, enduring a hostile spell effect as the spell saving throw. Extended physical activity might test your strength. Holding your breath might test your constitution.
Loud or repetitive noises might test your wisdom. Research or using crafting tools might test your intelligence. And sleep deprivation may test your constitution. Environments of attrition. Hostile environments that cause attrition include traveling through high winds, airborne, during a lightning storm, alternate plane of existence could test your charisma. Lightning storm is dexterity, high winds is strength, ash or poison-filled air is constitution, hail, sand, or snowstorm can test your constitution. Ship at sea and rough waters could test your dexterity, or submerged underwater could test your strength. When you travel through hostile terrain or endure a hostile condition that causes attrition, make an ability concentration saving throw at the frequency of the severity listed below. The DC of the saving throw is equal to 10 plus the total amount of mana or key tapped to maintain concentration on those effects. Like a 9th level spell that requires concentration would require 9 keys, so that would be 19 is your DC. If the saving throw fails, concentration is disrupted, like we talked about before. This is your shit testing concentration. Since you can maintain concentration all day if no one tests you on it, which kind of makes sense, then you want to, in an adventuring circumstance, you want to shit test them to put their resources at risk so that they have to think about what are they doing during their adventuring day. So your severity is, if it's mild, you make a check every 4 hours. This leans into the idea of hex crawling and overland movements. A day goes by and nothing happens. Well, if it's light conditions like that and they're using, say, flight to navigate across a jungle instead of having to go into it, if you shit test them and the caster fails every 4 hours, they're going to have to check to see if their flight fails. If your wizard fucks up their flight spell, everyone now has to land in the jungle, and look, you just got ambushed by a bunch of jaguars. Roll initiative. If it's a moderate difficulty, then it's a moderate conditions is every 2 hours. Strong conditions is every hour. Severe is every 10 minutes. Extreme is every minute. And then if it's supernatural, like another plane of existence, like the plane of fire, it's every round. So when affected by more than one source of attrition, you make saving throws for each at their own frequency. Success, such as an intelligence saving throw every hour and a constitution saving throw every 10 minutes. If all sources of attrition check the same ability score, you only make one saving throw at a time. For example, if 2 sources of attrition require strength saves every hour and every 2 hours, you only make one every hour. Here's an example. At 5th level, a 5th level monk can sustain Pass Without Trace with 2 key, which has a concentration DC of 12. Which, while ascending an Arctic mountain in search of a frost giant's lair, a winter storm gathers, threatening the monk's journey with hail. The DM decides climbing the steep and icy slopes of the mountain is extended physical activity, which we know over here. Condition, extended physical activity is a strength check. So, requiring a strength saving throw, and the severity at the high altitude is strong, requiring an attrition check every hour. However, the hail is severe, requiring a concentration saving throw every 10 minutes. Each hour, you make both a constitution and strength saving throw, since both severe and strong sources of attrition are checked on the hour. If you find shelter and choose to stop climbing while waiting for the storm to pass over, you must wait the full hour to avoid making the strength saving throw for extended physical activity. So that's the base mechanics of attrition, which is really useful over long periods of time when you're dealing with traps, alternate conditions, and difficulties, right? So given that, and those mechanics are like duplicated in Elemental Key, it's also in the Core Mechanics book, and it's in Knights and Tricksters. Those are the 3 books that are currently so. And when we publish, like, Spell Point Sorcerer will be in there as well. So now that you guys understand how attrition works, in addition, you automatically succeed attrition checks triggered by weather conditions. Bam!
That is a really fucking strong ability. At 6th level, is it too strong? No, because that is a rare circumstance. Unless you're doing overland move, like if you're in a dungeon, this is never going to come up. If you're doing overland stuff where your characters are like if you're underwater, for instance, and there's a storm happening. If you're underwater where it's calm, you don't have to worry about your water breathing. But if you're on the surface, you're doing water walking, for instance, it would affect you. But this grants you immunity to that. So you can walk through a storm with your spells active, and they're never going to be destroyed. So Tempest Affinity, this now becomes, because of the system, a really useful mechanic for your character to have. Again, if you're doing a hex crawl, this is actually a really great character to have too. Now you're like, shit, we're going to do a hex crawl game. Do I want to go with Circle of the Land? Or maybe I want Circle of the Storm so that I can do overland stuff and protect my team more easily. There you go. So I'll break my arm patting myself on the back if you want. So that's that. And now we're going to go into, yeah, I think at 6th level, I think that's fine. 1, 2. So we're going to go to level 10. So we're going to modify this now because we ganked some of those abilities. We're going to go down to Storm's Gift. Oh, no, wait. I want to go Stormborn. That's where we're at. So let's fetch this. I don't know how soon this is going to get published. This is a revision. I mean, all these books are obviously on the DMs Guild already. And this, again, this document is available for you guys. You can look at it right now. It's available for you guys to check out. Again, over here, we look here, and here is the full. Here is the playtest document that we're looking at. Go in through my Patreon, and then you click Martial Powers here. There you go. So all this stuff is available for you guys to check out right now if you want it. And then let's go here. Let's do it like this. You can breathe underwater. Flight. Let's condense these. What adaptation? What's your problem with that word? Adaptation. Oh, is that how I'm supposed to spell that? Well, thank you. I thought adaptation was a word. Let's go find it. Oh, aquatic anatomy. You can breathe water and gain a swim speed equal to double your walking speed. In addition, you have no penalties and melee attacks when you're attacking underwater. Equal to your speed. Walking speed isn't a thing anymore. It's just speed now. Is it capitalized? Speed is capitalized. It is now a keyword. Hold on. Swim speed. See, capitalized. Swim speed. Speed. I like these tags. I'm a really big fan of these keyword tags. I think they're super useful. Swim speed. I Thank you, Timely Timer. How are we doing? Hey, I still have an hour left. Fucking awesome. Aquatic Anatomy.
Aquatic Adaptation. You gain a swim speed equal to your speed, and you can breathe water. Flight. You gain a flight speed equal to your speed. Resistance. You have resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. Fucking A, that's so good. This stuff is so good. Yeah, I love 2024. It's so fun to design for. Level 14. I think we're going to be changing this as well. We went from not changing anything to changing fucking everything. I love that. Oceanic Gift. Instead of manifesting the emanation of Wrath of Sea around yourself, you can manifest it. Oh yeah, this is great. We just gotta cut and paste this language. Cut, paste, copy, drop, and adapt it. Tempest Affinity. Stormborn. Wrath of the Storm. Stormborn. Tempest Affinity. Tempest's Gift. Instead of manifesting the emanation of wrath of the storm around yourself, you can manifest it around one willing creature within 60 feet of yourself. That creature gains all the benefits of the emanation and uses your spell save DC and wisdom modifiers for it. In addition, you can manifest the emanation around both the other creature and yourself if you expend 2 uses of your wild shape instead of 1 when manifesting it, which again you can regain uses of with 2 mana. And bam, we now have Circle of the Storm, which replaces Circle of the Sea. We already have Circle of the Moon, and the only feature we had to change there was the Moonlight Step. And we already have the caveat up here that says that Druids get all of the subclass features in the below with the below modifications. If a feature isn't described here, it remains unchanged as written in the player's handbook. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up adding in the spell lists to these things. So I'm going to finish. We've got 1 left. Let's finish Circle of the Stars, and then we'll go back through and we're going to flesh out the rest of the spells on these subclass lists. So everyone has 10 spells. 1, 2, 3, and there. Circle of the Stars. Which means we're going to end up pushing Circle of the Storm. Get out of here. Okay, Circle of the Stars. I suspect this is going to be fun. Let's find out. The Circle of the Stars has tracked heavenly patterns since time immemorial. Discovering secrets hidden amid the constellations. By understanding their secrets, the Druids of the Circle seek to harness the powers of the cosmos. This is really fun. Star Map. You've created a star chart as part of the Heavenly Studies. It is a tiny object, and you can use it as a spellcasting focus for your Druid spells. You determine its form by rolling on the Star Map table or by choosing one. While holding the map, you have the Guidance and Guiding Bolt spells prepared, and you can cast Guiding Bolt without expending a spell slot. You can cast it that way a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. If you lose the map, you can perform a 1-hour ritual. And you can cast it that way a number of times equal to... I'm fine with that. We don't need to do anything with that. We can skip that. So we have Star Map. And we have Starry Form, Cosmic Omens, Twinkling Constellations, and Full of Stars. So Full of Stars is going to be 14. Twinkling Constellations is 10. Cosmic Omens is 6. Which probably means Starry Form and Star Map are 3rd. And I am not satisfied with this solution. So we're going to have to make changes to this. All right. What am I trying to do right now? You know what? I'm going to skip this for now. We do need to go back and add spells to all these subclasses. We may or may not. What is it? It's 11:10. We might have time to do that today. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Starry chart. Here's where I want to be. Thank you. Star map. That's fine as is. We skip it. 6, 10. No. 14, 10, 6, 3. Right. Starry form. 3. Starry form. As a bonus action, you can spend it using wild shape. Cool. To take on a starry form rather than shapeshifting. While in your starry form, you retain your game statistics, but your body becomes luminous. Your joints glimmer like stars and glowing lines connecting them as a star chart. Oh, neat. Okay. The form sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10. The form lasts for 10 minutes. It ends early if you dismiss it. No action required. Have the incapacitated condition, or use this feature again. Whenever you assume your starry form, choose one of the following constellations. Choose one of the following constellations, glimmers on your. Choose which of the following constellations glimmers on your body. Your choice gives you certain benefits while in the form. God, this is such a Theros flavor. Archer. A constellation of an archer appears on you when you activate this form, and as a bonus action on your subsequent turns when it lasts, you can make a ranged spell attack, hurling a luminous arrow that targets one creature within 60 feet of yourself. On a hit, the attack deals radiant damage equal to D8 plus your wisdom bonus. Okay. Sorry, the reason why I have a kerfuffle face on me is because the archer seems like you should have access to guiding bolt. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to see if we can create a list of 10 spells that make sense in a generic sort of way to be for the Circle of Stars. We're going to remove Guiding Bolt as a free spell, and instead we're going to drop it down into the starry form, and as an archer, while using the archer form, when you activate this form as a bonus action, you gain access. You can cast Starry Bolt. You can cast Guiding Bolt. So that makes sense for archer. It's Guiding Bolt. Chalice. Life-giving Goblet appears on you whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points. You or another creature within 30 feet of you gains hit points equal to, okay. And then Chalice can be used to twin any Cure Wound spell that you use. Dragon form, as a constellation of a wise dragon, appears on you. When you make an intelligence or wisdom saving throw or constitution saving throw to maintain concentration, you treat a roll of 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. Oh my god. That's actually really fucking cool. Okay, cool. So this is definitely go. Oh, I am excited. Oops. So fucking fun. You know that guidance is going to be one of them. So there's that. As a bonus action, you can spend a use of your wild shape feature to take on a starry form rather than shapeshifting. While in your starry form, you retain your game statistics, but your body becomes luminous, needing the blah blah. Whenever you assume your starry form, choose one of the following constellations. Choose which of the following constellations glimmers on your body. Your choice gives you certain benefits while in the form. I am strongly tempted to go into a Theros theme and offer 5 variants based on each color. I'm not quite there yet, but I am very much thinking in that direction. For now, we'll stick with this. Constellation of Archer appears on you. When you activate this form as a bonus action on subsequent turns while it lasts, you can Chalice. Constellation on the left, Giving Gala appears on you whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot. Whenever you cast a spell, whenever you expend mana to restore hit points to a creature, you or another creature within 30 feet of you can regain hit points equal to D8 plus your wisdom modifier. There you go. That's very simple. And it cheats in different ways. As long as you're expending mana, you can use this feature to hit somebody else or to heal somebody else. Excuse me. Very poor etiquette.
I have the consumption. And I'm back.
Dragon. A constellation of a wise dragon appears on you. When you make an intelligence or a wisdom check, or a saving throw to maintain concentration, you can treat a roll of 9 or lower on the D20 as a 10. Yeah, we're gonna leave with Constitution. When you make an intelligence, okay, I have to be careful about how I word this because saving throws duplicate. I can't just give you a generic across the board bonus to. I can't just do a generic modification to saving throws that are affecting concentration, because concentration triggers off of typical saving throws. So what we need to do instead is when you make an intelligence or wisdom check or a constitution or when taking damage forces a constitution saving throw
to maintain concentration. That's the proper language. You can treat a roll of 9 or 10, because if your concentration, like if you're making a saving throw against, say, a fireball, right? You don't check twice, once to see if you save against the fireball, and then again against the damage that you take from the saving throw, even though you succeeded or failed it. That's double taxing you on a save, which is unfair. So if you make a saving throw against a spell, and if as a result of that saving throw you take damage, you don't have to make a saving throw again to maintain concentration because of the damage. The saving throw against the spell itself resolved whether you're going to fail concentration or not. But when you get hit by a sword, for example, that forces a Constitution saving throw because of damage that you're taking, that does trigger a Constitution saving throw like normal. In that circumstance, the only saving throw that you're making is that Constitution saving throw, in which case this does apply. So that's how that language parses out. And the end. And that means that I need to, for consistency's sake, I need spaces here. Space, space, and we're done. Stormborn, and let's go back up. All right. Next. Cosmic Omen. When you finish a long rest, you can consult your starry map of omens and roll a die. Until you finish your next long rest, you gain access to a special reaction based on whether you rolled an even or an odd number on the die. Wheel, even. Whenever a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is about to make a d20 test, you can take a reaction to roll 1d6 and add the number rolled to the total. Whoa. Whenever a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is about to make a d20 test, you can take a reaction to roll 1d6 and subtract that number from the total. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. But we're going to do it a little bit better. Cosmic Omen. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. Once you use this feature, you can't do so. You can. Was that in Storm? No, it must have been in Moon. Was it in Moon? There. It's here. There we go. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook, and you can regain uses by expending 2 points of mana. No action required. And you can regain for each. That's the word that I needed, for each. For There. So you can continuously ding other people if that's how you want to spend your reaction, and you can whittle down your mana pool to do it. Level 10. Does that need to change? Twinkling Constellations. The constellations of your starting form improve. The D8 of the Archer and Chalice becomes 2D8. And while the dragon is active, you have a fly speed of 20 feet and can hover. Moreover, at the start of each of your turns, while in the starting form, you can change which constellation glimmers on your body. Full of Stars doesn't need to change. While in your starry form, you become partially incorporeal, giving you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. I'm fine with that. Twinkling Constellations, we do need to change that. So, 10. Copy. Let's see. The constellation of your starry form improves. Excuse me for a second. My nose is doing it again. I'm wondering if my cold medicine's giving out. God, this thing's just been lingering on me forever. My ears back. Let's have a sip of coffee. Build some courage. Improve. Jocelyn rolls 2d8. While the dragon is active, you have a fly speed of 20 feet and can hover. While the chalice is active, you now roll 2d8. While the archer is active, you now... What do you get now? Because we already gave you Guiding Bolt. That's something you get that's prepared. While the archer is active... Moreover, at the start of your turns, while your starry form is activated, you can change which constellation glimmers on your body. I love that. I'm fine with that staying that way. I like that they're using the word moreover now, as opposed to in addition or furthermore. Well, moreover is a good word. While the archer is active now, okay, so we get Guiding Bolt, which is already crazy sick. While the archer is active, if you miss your attack with Guiding Bolt. Return the mana to your pool. That's really good.
Fucking sick.
Okay. Full of stars. And full of stars doesn't need to change.
There you go. One, two, three.
And what time is it? It's 11:30. I still have a half hour left. Let's flesh out some spells.
Add them to your spell book. These spells are devoted to blue magic for you in addition to their native colors. They cost them time, blah, blah, blah. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell in this class, you can add one additional wizard spell up to the max level you can cast as a wizard in your spell book this way for free. 2 at 3rd.
Oh yeah, and this eventually becomes 10 because we have the 10th level, which would include Wish, which you get at 19th level. The only 10th level spell, you automatically gain Wish for free. So that tracks. So all the wizard stuff makes sense. We'll come back and mess around. Here we are with the sorcerer. And we'll come back and mess around with the sorcerer another day. Let's go back to our land. I'm fine with Circle of the Land only getting 6 spells instead of 10 because you get to change what those spells are whenever you finish a long rest. So you actually have 20 of them, but only 5 at a time. So I'm okay with that adaptation. But for the rest of them, I want to make sure everyone gets 10. So how do we express that? Let's go find something that expresses things normally. Maybe Bard wasn't the right choice. Let's try. I think Cleric gets spells, right? Thank you. Domain spells. That's what it's called. copy, paste.
There you go.
Guidance. So, cantrip 1, 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4. Second level, first level, cantrip. Oh, second level. Ooh, how about that?
Okay. So for us, I didn't need to close that. So we're going to go to spells. Let's crack open. No, we don't need a color list. That's not important right now. Let's go to filtered spells. No, we want to go to advanced features. Source is core. And level is cantrips. No, let's go with 1. So we're gonna get guidance. We know that for a fact.
What are other cool starry stuff? What's other starry stuff that we could find in here that might make
Color spray? I think that makes sense.
And is there something else? Tangle. Fairy fire might make sense. Ooh, dancing lights. That makes sense.
Let's do that.
Is dancing lights a druid spell? Because if it's not, this makes perfect fucking sense that it would be. Oh, it's not. That's perfect. Dancing lights, guidance, color spray, and let's go find a second level spell. I love doing this. I love building spell lists like this. It's so fun. What's a cool starry spell sort of effect? Augury? You receive an omen. That's perfect. You can take the next 30 minutes. It chooses witches 1, wheel or woe. Awesome. Augury. Ah, that makes so much sense. All right, so let's pick out some third level spells. We want 2 spells at a Beacon of Hope. Hydration has advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and regains maximum number of hit points possible from healing. I think Beacon of Hope for stars makes a ton of sense right off the bat. Beacon of Hope. So let's do that, and all we need is another one. Let's see if something jumps out at us. Glyph of Warding. Hypnotic Pattern might not be a bad one. God, that'd be fucking cool. Hypnotic Pattern is a strong contender. Hypnotic Pattern, I want to keep that in mind. Is there something better than Hypnotic Pattern? No, I think Hypnotic Pattern is the win. Go look at it. You create a dazzling pattern of colors. The pattern appears for a moment and vanishes. Each creature in the area who can see the pattern must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the charmed condition for the duration. While charmed, the creature has the incapacitated condition and a speed of 0. The spell ends for an affected creature if it takes any damage or if someone else uses an action to shake the creature out of its stupor. Ah, hypnotic pattern is fucking win. God, this is so fun. Starry stuff. Looking for star-like effects. Star-like effects. Divination? Because of the star charts? Divination, it is a druid spell, and it's always, but it's a strong contender because it's so thematic. I think I want to do it. If we find 2 things that are better, we'll replace it. But those are, I mean, Font of Moonlight. I mean, that kind of is on. Nah, it's Moonlight. It's not quite on task. We just need 1 more, but if we can find 2, we'll replace Divination. Hallucinatory terrain. No, not seeing it yet. Vitriolic Sphere, not quite there yet. And Wall of Fire. Uh-oh, we're running into a problem. We're gonna have to get creative. Arcane Eye. That doesn't really feel like stars to me. What's Aura of Purity about? Radiates to you at 30 feet for the duration. While in the aura, you and your allies have resistance to poison damage and advantage on saving throws to avoid the effects that include blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poison, and stunned. Wow, not bad. What? To avoid and advantage to avoid the effect. Aura of Purity isn't horrible. An aura radiates from you at 30 feet. While in the aura, you and your allies have resistance to necrotic damage, and your hit point maximum can't be reduced. If an ally with 0 hit points starts its turn in the aura, that ally regains 1 hit point. That's not bad. Aura of Life, those both kind of make sense. Banishment, I don't, not quite. Conjure, Death Lord, Dominate Beast, no. Not quite. Let's check here again. We're stretching. What about, Guardian of Faith. What's that all about? Appears and hovers for the duration in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. The Guardian occupies that space and is invulnerable, and it appears in a form appropriate for your deity or pantheon. I love it. Okay, Guardian of Faith. Any enemy that moves to a space within 10 feet of the Guardian for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there makes a dexterity saving throw, taking 20 radiant damage on a failed or half as much on a success. The Guardian vanishes when it is dealt a total of 60 damage. Okay. I'm good with that. That is incredibly Theros in flavor. I love that. Now let's go to 5. Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but bite me. Am I doing okay? How's my volume? Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Am I doing okay? Check. How's my volume? That's good. Let's see. Okay. 5th level. We're looking for 2 that are starry formed. Awakened? Nah. Banishing Smite. Circle of Power. Cloud Kill. Commune. Commune might not be bad. Commune. We already have Commune. Commune with Nature is different. Commune doesn't hurt though, because you have your starry map. You continue to do Divine Proxy and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with yes or no. You must ask questions. Divine beings aren't necessarily omniscient. Versus Commune with Nature, which is
Now there's a surrounding area specifically. So let's go with commune. That makes perfect sense for the starry map theme. Commune. Contact other plane. Let's do that instead. And we're down to, yeah, 20 minutes left on the block. Yeah, contact other plane feels better. Now, we'll go with commune if we can't find another starry theme something, but I suspect it's 5th level. We'll probably find something. Geas is interesting. You can see with, nah. What? Storm of Radiance. We'll definitely put that on the Circle of Storms. Ooh, Legend Lore. That might not be bad. Let's see if there's something that's more obvious. But Legend Lore, that's not a bad one. Legend Lore. Something better than Legend Lore? Nope, I think Legend Lore is going to be the winner. Let's peel it open real quick. The lore might... Yeah, we're going to go with Legend Lore. I love that. Oh, yeah, we just did Circle of the Stars, didn't we? Let's, I forgot what I was actually working on. So that was Circle of the Moon. That's awesome. Nature, great. Land. Let's go down to Circle of the Stars and actually put this where it's supposed to be. Circle of the Stars. I'm in the Stars spells table. One, two, perfect. And then we can go back up here. We can actually do moon stuff. So get rid of that. That. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Teleportation effect. That was the only thing that we actually had that come into effect here. So, Circle of the Moon. Moon spells. All right, so working with moon spells. Let's work our way forward back. Storm. And then let's go features. Level 3 variant. Circle of Storms. And this is where the fuck this dude is. Jalarzies? I've never heard of this dude. You mean nothing to me. I don't care about your lore. I'm sorry if that makes me a snob or a grognard, but I don't give a shit. I'm not interested in your NPCs. I'm not interested in your characters. I'm interested in my characters.
I don't need to be lectured about the history of somebody. So we're looking for Stormer. We're looking for Storm and Moon stuff. Storm and Moon. Maybe we just go through Storm right now and see what we can come up with. Shan't we? Storm, storm, storm. Storm, storm, storm. Storm, 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 weather. Weather, storm, storm. Storm, storm, weather. Cloud kill. Cone of cold. Destructive wave. On a failed save, thunder, radiant, or necrotic damage. Destructive wave sounds good.
For Storm? Yeah.
Destructive wave. Excuse me for a second. I want to check my texts. I'm getting dinged. Destructive wave. Creation. Hold on real quick. Let's see. Storm stuff. Storm, storm, storm. Storm, storm. No, we got the storm taken care of. Is there moon stuff? That's what we're looking for right now. Moons. Moon, 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 moon. Moon, moon, moon. Is there any cool moon stuff going on? Moons. Can we find Circle of the Moon stuff? Circle of the Moon. Is there something that makes sense for the moon? Moon. Insect plague, storm, mislead, passwall, reincarnate, scrying, seeming, summon celestial, summon storm, steel wind strike. Boy, this is a challenge. Fifth level for moon. Moon, maybe Circle of Power. Moonlight, moon, moon. Let's look at the language for Circle of. It's not a great match, but let's see if it works. 30 foot on the aura, you have an advantage on saving throws and other magical effects. Oh, okay, Circle of Power. That's okay. So Circle of Power. I'm okay with Circle of Power for the moon. I'm looking for something else that feels moon-ish. Target hit takes radiant, takes force damage. The attack does 50 more damage. Maybe Banishing Smite. No, that's really cheating out of the Paladin's pool. I don't want to do that to you. Circle of Power, commune with nature, Cone of Cold, Moon, Conjure Volley, Contagion, Creation, Dream. What's Dream? Act as a dream messenger. While in the state, the messenger is incapacitated, has 0 points. Target is asleep. Dreams. Yeah, no, that's not really feeling it. It's almost there. It's not quite feeling it. Flame Strike is not very moonish. Something of the moon. Mislead, Modify Memory, Pass Wall, Planar Binding. Moon. And then Wall of Fire. Oh, Swift Quiver, Synaptic Static, huh? Of the Moon. Unearthly Majesty and 10-foot Emanation. That doesn't feel very moon-like, I guess. What feels moon-like? God, this is a challenge. Transformation moon-themed. Transformation or moon-themed? Transformation or moon-themed? Transformation or moon-themed? We're trying, folks. We're not finding it. Maybe Greater Restoration. I mean, it's cheap. I guess Dream is okay. It's not a great flavor. The target is asleep. The messenger appears in the target's dream and can converse with the target as long as it remains. Yeah, that doesn't say moon to me. Fuck, this is tough. Boy, what's another thing we can do for the moon? Hallow? Touch a point and infuse an area around it with holy and unholy power. The area has a radius of 60 feet. This is shitty, but darkness, courage, extra effect, daylight, peaceful rest, silence, vulnerability. Mislead. You create an invisible. You gain the invisible condition and create an illusionary double. God, none of these are really good. Wall of Force. Hallow, Legend Lore, Mislead, Memory, Modify Memory, Planar Binding, no, Telepathic Bond, Scrying, Seeming, same plane existence as you. Which is modified. Yeah, Scrying doesn't really feel moon-like either. Shit, this is tough. Animate objects, anti-life shell. Conjure elemental. Contact other plane. Creation. Yeah, creation doesn't really jive at all. Dispel evil and good. Have disadvantages on attack rolls. Oh, let's just do Dispel evil and good. I'm cool with that. Yeah. We'll go with it. It's cheap, but we'll go with it. I don't think it's a great flavor match, but it's not bad. Hold on real quick. Circle of the Storm replaces Circle of the Sea. There we go. That's there. And I'm basically out of time. So I'm going to have that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to cut. So it's noon. We're not quite done, but we're coming along. So we're going to be back Monday night. Yeah, we should be back. Yeah, we'll be back Monday night to continue this. And when we do, we'll finish out these storm spells, and then we'll go down into Sorcerer and make sure these all have the spells that they need. And we already have the Wizard taken care of. Yeah, so that's it for now. I'll be back Monday. I'll be back Monday morning to do more Eberron art, and then Monday night we'll be back to finish out this list. Then Tuesday morning we'll be back, and then Tuesday lunch we'll be back to do this. Tuesday morning artwork for Eberron, and then Tuesday lunch we'll do this. Wednesday morning Eberron, and then Thursday morning Eberron. Thursday night we'll do this. Friday morning we'll do more Eberron art, and then Friday lunchtime we'll do this. And then depending on how the playtest rolls out, next Saturday is the 9th. We'll either have enough people to be running playtesting on Saturday morning, or I will be here for another 3-hour session. And if instead Monday is selected to be our playtesting, then on Monday the 11th, a week from this Monday, a week from then, the 11th, we'll start playtesting Martial Powers at 3rd level, and I won't be back. So either this is either my last Saturday for the next 2 months, or I'll be back, or I'll continue to be here, and then next Monday will be my last Monday for the next 2 months. So we'll see how that shakes out. We'll see what the audience, what everybody, again, on Discord, if you're interested in playtesting stuff with us for the Martial Power System, my Discord channel is here. This invite link will take you to my Discord, where we're doing signups for the Martial Power System from level 3 to 10 for doing a mega dungeon using 2024 rules with the Martial Power System that we've been developing. If you're interested, drop a line, say hey, love to have you. And I'll have anywhere from, I'll run with a minimum of 3, and I'll run with up to 5. So as long as we have a team of at least 3, we can run. If there's a week that we don't have enough people, then I'll be back on and streaming. No hurt, no harm. I just want to get time in to make sure that the mechanics are fun and that the ideas work. Plus, I wanted to work with the BECMI GP equals XP system, which we didn't have time to get to today. So I need to carve out some time to make time for that. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you all on Monday morning. Have a great weekend.